Most people spend their entire lives chasing money. They work harder, they work longer hours, and they hope that one day they will finally become wealthy. But for most people, that day never comes. Not because they are lazy, not because they lack intelligence, but because they are playing the wrong game. You see, millionaires don't think about money the same way most people do. They understand something that changes everything. Wealth is not built by income alone. Wealth is built by ownership. This single idea has created more millionaires than almost anything else. Think about it for a moment. Two people can earn exactly the same salary. They can live in the same city. They can even work at the same company. Yet 20 years later, their lives look completely different. One person is financially free. The other is still struggling. So what happened? The answer is surprisingly simple. One person spent most of their money. The other person bought assets. That small decision changed the direction of their future. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket. It can be a business, it can be a stock, it can be real estate, it can be a valuable skill, or it can be a system that produces income automatically. Assets are powerful because they continue working long after the purchase is made. They don't stop when you stop working. They don't disappear when you take a day off. They continue creating value, day after day, month after month, year after year. This is why wealthy people focus so much on ownership. They understand that every dollar has a choice. It can be spent, or it can be invested. Spending feels good in the moment, but assets create freedom in the future. Most people buy things that lose value. Millionaires buy things that gain value. That difference may seem small, but over time, it becomes enormous. Imagine planting a tiny seed in the ground. At first, nothing seems to happen. Days pass, weeks pass, maybe even months pass. Then slowly, the seed begins to grow. A small plant appears, then a stronger plant, then eventually a tree. Years later, that tree produces fruit again and again. Assets work the same way. They require patience, they require discipline, and they require a long-term mindset. Unfortunately, most people never learn this. Schools teach people how to earn money, but very few schools teach people how to build wealth. As a result, many people spend decades working for money, instead of making money work for them. Millionaires understand that money is a tool, and every tool should have a purpose. They don't see money as something to spend. They see money as something to deploy, something that can build even more value. This is why ownership matters so much. Owners benefit from growth. Owners benefit from success. Owners benefit from innovation. While workers are paid once, owners can benefit again and again. This is the foundation of wealth creation, and it is the reason so many millionaires continue getting richer over time, because they focus on acquiring assets, not liabilities. They focus on ownership, not consumption, and they understand that financial freedom is not built overnight. It is built one asset at a time. In this documentary, we are going to explore the 5 assets that appear again and again in the portfolios of successful millionaires. Assets that have created wealth for generations. Assets that continue producing value today, and assets that could completely change the way you think about money. So let's begin with the first asset, the asset that has helped create countless millionaires around the world: business ownership. If there is one asset that appears again and again among millionaires, it is business ownership. Businesses have created more wealth than almost any other asset in history. The reason is simple. A business can generate income far beyond the time of its owner. Most people sell their time. Business owners sell value, and value can be multiplied. Imagine a person working a normal job. They get paid for every hour they work. If they stop working, the income stops too. There is nothing wrong with that, but there is a limit. Every person only has 24 hours in a day. A business changes that equation completely, because a business can serve many people at the same time. While one person sleeps, a business can still make sales. While one person takes a vacation, a business can still generate revenue. That is the power of leverage. Leverage allows one effort to create many results, and millionaires love leverage because leverage helps wealth grow faster. Think about your favorite restaurant. At some point, it started as a simple idea, one location, a few customers, and a small team. But over time, that restaurant could expand. One location becomes 5, 5 become 20, 20 become hundreds. The owner is still one person, but the business keeps growing. This is why ownership matters so much. The owner benefits from every improvement, every new customer, every new location, every new innovation, every increase in profit. Wealth follows value creation. The more value a business creates, the more valuable it becomes. This is why some businesses are worth millions and others are worth billions. The biggest companies in the world started small. They began with a simple problem and a solution. Over time, they improved that solution. Then they served more people. Then they expanded globally. Growth created value, and value created wealth. Most people focus on earning more. Business owners focus on building more. That mindset changes everything, because builders create assets, and assets create freedom. Every successful business solves a problem. The bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity. This is one reason millionaires pay close attention to markets. They are always looking for unmet needs, problems that people want solved, businesses that can improve lives, because solving problems creates demand, and demand creates income. Imagine creating a product that helps 100 people. That's valuable. Now imagine helping 1 million people. The value becomes much greater. Scale is one of the greatest advantages of business ownership. A business can grow beyond the limits of one person. That is why entrepreneurs often become wealthy. They create systems, they build teams, they develop processes. Eventually, the business can operate without constant supervision. This is where true leverage begins. The owner is no longer trading time for money. The business becomes the asset, and the asset continues producing value, even when the owner is not present. This doesn't mean building a business is easy. Every successful business faces challenges, competition, economic changes, customer expectations, and constant adaptation. But those who succeed gain something powerful: ownership. Ownership gives control. Ownership gives leverage. Ownership gives opportunity. This is why business ownership remains one of the most powerful wealth-building assets in the world. It has created countless millionaires, and it continues to create new ones every year. But business ownership is not the only path. There is another asset that has quietly created wealth for millions of people, an asset that allows ordinary individuals to own pieces of extraordinary companies, and that asset is stocks. When most people hear the word stock market, they think about risk, they think about charts, they think about prices moving up and down, and they think about losing money. But millionaires often see something completely different. They see ownership, because a stock is not just a number on a screen. A stock represents a piece of a real business, a business with customers, employees, products, services, and profits. When you own a stock, you own a small part of that company. As the company grows, your ownership can become more valuable. This simple idea has created enormous wealth throughout history. Think about some of the largest companies in the world. They started as small businesses, small teams, small offices, small ideas, but over time they grew. They served more customers. They entered new markets. They developed better products, and their value increased dramatically. Investors who owned pieces of those businesses benefited from that growth. This is one reason stocks are so powerful. They allow ordinary people to participate in extraordinary businesses without building the businesses themselves. Imagine owning a tiny piece of hundreds of successful companies. Every day those companies are working, developing products, solving problems, serving customers, expanding operations, and creating value, while you remain an owner. This is the power of investing. Money begins working in places where you cannot personally work. Wealthy people understand this principle very well. They know there is a limit to personal effort, but there is almost no limit to ownership. This is why many millionaires consistently invest, not because they are trying to get rich overnight, but because they understand long-term growth. Long-term growth is often boring. It lacks excitement. It lacks drama, but it builds wealth, year after year, decade after decade. One of the most powerful forces in investing is compounding. Compounding happens when growth begins creating more growth. Imagine a small snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it seems insignificant, but as it moves forward, it collects more snow and becomes larger, then even larger. Eventually, it becomes massive. Wealth can grow in a similar way. Small gains create larger gains. Larger gains create even bigger gains. Time becomes the secret ingredient. This is why patience is so valuable. Many people underestimate what can happen over 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years. Millionaires often think in decades, not days. They understand that building wealth is a process, not an event. The stock market rewards patience far more often than prediction. Most people spend their time trying to guess what happens tomorrow. Wealthy investors focus on what happens over many years, because strong businesses tend to keep creating value, and value tends to attract growth. This doesn't mean every investment succeeds. Markets rise, markets fall, economies change, industries evolve, challenges appear. But throughout history, ownership in productive businesses has remained a powerful wealth-building tool. That is why so many millionaire portfolios contain stocks. They provide growth, they provide ownership, and they provide access to opportunities around the world. While many people focus on spending money, investors focus on acquiring productive assets, assets that can continue increasing in value, assets that can continue generating returns, assets that can help build long-term wealth. This is why stocks remain one of the most important assets in the financial world. But there is another asset that millionaires have relied on for generations, an asset that creates both income and long-term appreciation, an asset that people see every day: real estate. For centuries, one asset has helped families build wealth across generations: real estate. Long before modern technology existed, long before stock markets became popular, people understood the value of owning land, because land is limited, and anything limited becomes valuable when demand increases. This simple principle has shaped economies for hundreds of years. Today, real estate remains one of the most powerful assets owned by millionaires, not because it makes people rich overnight, but because it combines multiple wealth-building advantages. The first advantage is cash flow. Cash flow is money that continues coming in over time. Imagine owning a property. Someone rents that property, and every month rent is paid. That rent becomes income, month after month, year after year. While many people work for income, property owners can collect income from assets they already own. This is one reason real estate is so attractive. It can generate money continuously, even when the owner is not actively working. But cash flow is only part of the story. The second advantage is appreciation. Appreciation means an asset increases in value over time. Imagine buying a property in a growing city. New businesses arrive. New roads are built. More people move into the area. Demand increases. As demand increases, property values often rise. The same property that was once inexpensive becomes significantly more valuable. This creates wealth, without selling products, without working extra hours, and without constantly chasing new opportunities. Time does much of the work. Millionaires understand the power of patience. They know that valuable locations often become even more valuable over decades. This is why many wealthy families hold real estate for long periods. They allow growth to compound. They allow communities to develop, and they allow demand to increase naturally. Another reason millionaires love real estate is leverage. Leverage allows people to control larger assets using limited capital. This can accelerate growth when used responsibly. Instead of waiting years to save the full cost of a property, investors often use financing. This allows them to acquire assets sooner and participate in future growth. Wealthy people understand that time is valuable. They prefer putting productive assets to work as early as possible. Real estate also provides flexibility. A property can be rented, improved, developed, expanded, or repurposed. One asset can create multiple opportunities. This flexibility creates additional value, and value is the foundation of wealth. Some people view property as simply a place to live. Millionaires often view property as a financial tool, a tool capable of producing income, growth, and opportunity. This doesn't mean every property is a great investment. Location matters, demand matters, market conditions matter. Successful investors understand these factors carefully. They study trends, they analyze opportunities, and they make decisions based on long-term potential, not short-term excitement, because wealth is rarely built through impulsive decisions. It is built through discipline, consistency, and patience. Over time, a collection of properties can become a powerful wealth-generating system. Multiple income streams, multiple appreciating assets, multiple opportunities for growth. This is why real estate appears in so many millionaire portfolios. It creates income, it creates appreciation, and it creates leverage. Three powerful forces working together. But surprisingly, the next asset requires no buildings, no land, and no tenants. Yet it may be one of the most valuable assets a person can ever own, because it travels everywhere with you. It cannot be taken away easily, and it can increase your earning potential for an entire lifetime. That asset is skills. Not every millionaire starts with money. Not every millionaire inherits wealth, and not every millionaire owns a business from the beginning. But almost every millionaire develops valuable skills. Skills are one of the most powerful assets in the world, because they can increase your value instantly. And unlike money, skills cannot easily be taken away. Markets change, economies change, industries change, but valuable skills remain valuable. They create opportunities, they solve problems, and they generate income. Imagine two people applying for the same opportunity. One has average skills, the other has highly valuable skills. Who do you think has the advantage? The answer is obvious. Skills increase your earning power, and earning power creates options. Millionaires understand this better than most people. They constantly invest in learning. They read books. They study industries. They develop expertise. And they improve their abilities year after year, because they know knowledge compounds. Just like money, every new skill builds upon previous skills. Over time, this creates a powerful advantage. The modern economy rewards value, and valuable skills create value. Some skills help people communicate. Some skills help people sell. Some skills help people build businesses. Some skills help people create technology. But all valuable skills share one thing in common. They solve important problems, and people pay for solutions. This is why highly skilled individuals often earn more. They provide greater value. Millionaires understand that their biggest asset is often themselves, their knowledge, their experience, their ability to create results. Because before a business succeeds, before an investment grows, before a system is built, a person must first develop the skills to make it happen. Skills are often the foundation of wealth. They help create businesses. They help identify investments. They help manage opportunities, and they help solve challenges. This is why learning never stops. The most successful people remain students. Even after becoming wealthy, they continue improving, they continue adapting, they continue growing, because growth creates opportunity, and opportunity creates wealth. Imagine learning one valuable skill every year. Now imagine doing that for 10 years. The difference would be extraordinary. You would think differently, work differently, and see opportunities that others completely miss. That is the hidden power of skills. They change the way you see the world. They increase confidence, they increase competence, and they increase value. In many cases, a single skill can completely transform a person's financial future. A great salesperson can build a business. A great marketer can create demand. A great programmer can build technology. A great leader can build organizations. Skills create possibilities, and possibilities create wealth. This is why millionaires invest heavily in themselves. They understand that knowledge produces returns for life. Unlike material possessions, skills often become more valuable with experience. The more they are used, the more powerful they become. This makes skills one of the safest assets a person can own. They travel with you, they grow with you, and they support every other asset you build. But there is one final asset, an asset that combines everything we have discussed so far: businesses, investments, real estate, and skills. Because this final asset allows wealth to grow even when you are not actively involved. It creates leverage on an entirely different level, and it separates wealthy people from truly wealthy people. That final asset is systems. Every asset we've discussed so far is powerful. Businesses create income. Stocks create ownership. Real estate creates cash flow. Skills create value. But there is one asset that can multiply the power of all the others: systems. Systems are the invisible engines behind wealth. Most people focus on individual actions. Wealthy people focus on systems, because actions create results once. Systems create results repeatedly. Think about a machine in a factory. Once the machine is built, it can produce products again and again, without starting from zero each time. A system works in the same way. It turns effort into repeatable results. This is why systems are so valuable. They create leverage, and leverage creates scale. Imagine running a business that depends entirely on you. Every decision requires your attention. Every problem requires your presence. Every customer needs your involvement. That is not a business. That is a job disguised as a business. True wealth comes when systems take over, when processes become repeatable, when teams understand their roles, when operations continue without constant supervision. This is where financial freedom begins. Because freedom is not about having more money. Freedom is about having more control over your time. Systems give people that control. The world's most successful companies are built on systems. Every order follows a process. Every product follows a process. Every customer experience follows a process. Systems create consistency, and consistency creates growth. Imagine a business serving one customer. Now imagine the same business serving 1 million customers. The difference is systems. Without systems, growth becomes impossible. With systems, growth becomes scalable. This is why entrepreneurs spend years building processes. They understand that systems are assets, assets that continue producing value long after they are created. The digital world has made systems even more powerful. Today, software can automate tasks. Artificial intelligence can analyze information. Online platforms can serve millions of people simultaneously. These are all examples of systems, systems that create value at scale. And scale is where extraordinary wealth is created. Millionaires understand systems. Billionaires master systems, because systems remove limitations. They allow one idea to reach millions, one product to reach the world, one effort to create massive results. This is why some companies grow so quickly. Their systems allow them to expand efficiently. Every improvement multiplies across the entire organization. Every innovation reaches thousands or millions of customers. That is the power of leverage, and leverage is one of the greatest wealth-building forces ever discovered. Systems also reduce risk, because success is no longer dependent on one person. The business becomes stronger, more efficient, and more sustainable. This creates long-term value, the kind of value investors love, the kind of value markets reward, and the kind of value that creates lasting wealth. If businesses are engines, then systems are the fuel that keeps them running. Without systems, growth eventually stops. With systems, growth can continue for years. This is why the wealthiest people focus so much on building processes. They know that systems are assets, assets that work day and night, assets that do not get tired, assets that continue producing value, even when the owner is not present. And that brings us to an important realization. The 5 assets we've discussed are deeply connected. Skills help build businesses. Businesses generate income. Income buys investments. Investments grow wealth. Systems multiply everything. Together, they create a powerful financial foundation. This is the blueprint followed by countless millionaires, not because it guarantees success, but because it increases the probability of success. Wealth is rarely the result of a single decision. It is usually the result of hundreds of smart decisions made over time. One asset acquired, then another, year after year, opportunity after opportunity. This is how wealth is built, not overnight, but consistently, not through luck, but through ownership. The people who understand assets understand something powerful. Money is not the goal. Freedom is the goal. Assets simply provide the path, and the sooner that journey begins, the more time those assets have to grow, because time is the greatest wealth-building asset of all. The question is not whether these assets work. History has already answered that. The real question is simple. Which asset will you start building today?